Rise and grind, folks. I am on the way to another call. I believe, guys, this is a maintenance, and this customer has a gas boiler, and I know he has zone valves. I just don't remember if they were Honeywell or if they were Taco, but it's going to be pretty interesting. I know I've talked about zone valves before in one of my old live videos, but we're going to take a look at what he has there. The only thing I do know is I know he did some work on his AC unit. I believe he has a straight AC air handler and condenser, and then he has a boiler with like multiple zones. But we're going to take a look there and we're going to see what's going on. Make sure everything's rocking and rolling. I'll see you guys when I get there. Peace. Alright guys, I'm downstairs. And this is our beloved setup. We got a Laars 100K BTU gas boiler. And right now, I had this thing running for like 10 minutes. I wanted to get the pipes hot. But yeah guys, let me explain our beauty of a setup. This is a 2-zone. House. So think of it like this. We have a basement in the first floor zone, and then we have a second floor zone. Each zone has circulator pumps on the return and zone valves on the supply. And let me put my light on here so you guys can see this here. So these are Taco 3-wire zone valves. It's either terminals A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3, one or the other, but this is our setup here. These are our zone pumps here for the first and second floor, and this is our boiler circulator. And these are technically our aquastats or switching relays, however you want to call it, but these relays is what turns our circulator pumps on whenever the thermostat calls. But yeah, looks like some work was done here in the past. New transformer or newer transformer, but everything is getting hot. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this bad boy off since I know everything upstairs is hot, and I'm gonna take those burners out to clean them. But this customer did bring up an issue, and I'm gonna explain in a second. But let me get this boiler cleaned out. I'm gonna get everything internal checked out, get the burners cleaned, get the safeties looked at, and I'm gonna explain to you what I think is going on with one of these 2 zone valves. But where's the switch? Hold on. Alright, let's open this up and get to it. I'll see y'all in a little bit. Alright. Burners just turned on. Hey guys, there's so much dust here. My allergies are killing me right now. But we just pulled the burners out and cleaned them. And one thing I like about Laars boilers is that it gives you the option of, if I did have to replace the pilot assembly, or pretty much if I had to look at anything deep inside the boiler, there's 2 screws here, 2 screws here. The only thing I have to do is basically disconnect the pilot tube, and this whole thing pulls out. So I like the serviceability aspect of these boilers. But I'm just looking at my water pressure, and it's right below 20, which is good. And guys, let me show you what the complaint was. Let me pack some things up here. I'll see y'all in a little bit. Now, remember, this customer has 2 zones, first floor, second floor, 2 zone valves. The complaint was that you hear a banging sound Basically that. Not often, but he hears it. He says like maybe once a month or twice a month. I think I have an idea of what's going on here. Now guys, remember, with these zone valves, these are slow opening zone valves. So think about it like this. If you have hot water coming from the boiler, if this thermostat is not calling, the zone valve is not going to open up. But remember, the boiler turns on first before the zone valve. So if you have hot water on one end and it's cold on the other, once the zone valve slowly opens up, it is normal from time to time to hear that sound. But one thing I'm checking is a limit switch dial. Now if my limit was at 180, we'll turn this down to 160, which is already set to, because if this boiler overshoots on temperature, that could cause some rattling in the pipes, because you're probably gonna have water partially turning to steam inside the pipes, so you don't want that. But this is already set to 160, which is where we want it. But both of these zone valves are working fine. I don't think that anything is crazy is happening with the zone valve, because if that was the case, most of these zone valves are going to fail closed. They're not going to fail open. But now, I wouldn't roll out. Maybe one of the zone valves are opening too slow, but at this point, based on what I'm seeing here, I know my boiler is not overfiring. 160 right now is just off on limits. As you can see there, my boiler temp is already 160, so we know that this limit switch is working. But what I'm thinking here, if this boiler's turned off at 160, at best, or at the highest, it's probably going to overshoot to like 170. So I know my temperature is not getting up high enough to turn into steam, but maybe one of these two zone valves are opening too slow. But the only way to confirm this is he's probably going to have to experiment one zone at a time, and that's where it gets kind of dicey, because one of these zones are going to have to be off for probably like a few days, and he's probably going to have to turn one off and on at a time and see if that sound comes back with one of these off, and vice versa. If that sound comes back only on the second floor, then we at least can isolate the issue. But there's nothing I can find now, because of course it's not making that sound. But this will definitely be like a process of elimination type of scenario here. But from what I can tell, both of these zones are open and closing. Open and closing just fine. Yeah, guys, as I was talking about in my past live video, this is basically a schematic, and this is very, very foolproof. You can't mess this up if you take your time. I know it may look like a clutter of wires, but hooking these things up are pretty easy. One wire from the thermostat goes to one, the other connects and it goes back to one leg of the transformer, and terminals 2 and 3 from each zone valve gets connected together, and it goes to TNT on the aquastat. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Hooking these things up and removing these, you just twist it and it pops right off. That's the good thing about these 3-wire Tagos. I never have to replace too many zone bodies. The valve body here, which is this, you only replace the body if the solder joints are leaking. but for the most part, the head pops off and the meat and potatoes of this valve is detachable from the head. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Is gotta put this door back on, and I'll definitely let him know to try to run one zone at a time. And as you can hear, my boiler's turning back on, but maybe run one zone at a time to try to isolate and figure out where that sound is coming from. It's pertaining to which zone. Because I believe he said it's like coming from the middle zone, but I don't know which zone that area occupies. It could be the second, could be the first, but like I said, everything down here and upstairs is hot, so I don't think that sound is related to air. I think that sound is related to just the cold water that's in the pipes meeting the warm water coming from the boiler. So that reaction, hot meets cold. In AC terminology, you get condensate, but in heating terminology, when cold water meets hot water, that reaction leads to sound. So, alright guys, let me pipe this up here. Everything's rocking and rolling here. We just have to wait and see which one of these two zone valves are maybe not opening up as quickly as we want. But guys, that's the purpose of, let me turn the light back on. But that's the purpose of a slow opening zone valve. If this thing opens up too quick, you'll definitely get water hammer. But opening up too slow, I don't know if that's a bad thing, because opening up too slow will probably result in one zone not getting hot quick enough. But the heat, like I said, you definitely said that both zones are heating. The biggest concern is the sound. So this might just be one of those things that they're gonna have to deal with this particular boiler. But yeah. But alright guys, I'm gonna pack up and get out of here. What's up guys? I had to think about something here with that zone valve. If the zone valve opens up too quickly, that will 100% cause water hammer, because you'll have hot meeting cold. But vice versa, that, let's say hypothetically speaking, let's play a theory real quick. If that one of those zone valves were opening up too slow, I can guarantee the customer will notice it, because one of those two zones probably wouldn't heat. So guys, what I'm thinking, putting two and two together, and right now I'm at the truck doing the paperwork, putting two and two together, guys, I think that maybe that sound may not be related to temperature. It might be some type of pipes in the wall or some type of pipes in the floor. Something must be vibrating. But guys, I mean, I know those two zone valves are working, but I probably, even when I was downstairs, I wasn't going to recommend replacing a zone valve that I know is already working. Most of the time, if you got to manually open that zone valve in order for it to work, assuming that you have power, like I said, you know, and the thermostat is calling, and assume you have power coming from the transformer that powers those zone valves. I mean, most of the time, that's the easiest way of diagnosing a bad zone valve. But like I said, that customer never reported any heating issues. It was just that sound, but he can't pinpoint that sound to like a certain area of the house. But like, I thought initially of maybe isolating the zone valves. Maybe that can work. That can help them figure out, you know, what zone is responsible for that sound. But I don't think that sound is coming from the zone valves, because like I said, that would definitely would have been a dead giveaway, putting two and two together. But what I'll do is I'll let him know. I mean, he could try, like I said, the isolation method of what I just said, as far as trying to figure out what zone is responsible for that sound. But you know, if he figures out what zone is responsible for that sound, let's say hypothetically speaking, if this the second floor, I mean, that's not going to get him that much closer to figuring out where it's coming from, unless he can like pinpoint exactly, you know, if it's coming from like a family room or a bedroom. That would be an easier way of finding it. But like I said, guys, where I was in that basement, the pipes are not exposed from the basement where it goes up. The only thing I see is the pipes where it comes out of the boiler. I see the zone valves, but where it shoots up from the ceiling of the basement, everything is in the wall. So no doubt about it. I think maybe, like I said, pipes are rubbing somewhere in the wall, but that's something, like I said, that's not an easy find, especially if, you know, if this is the first time they're reporting this issue. This is our first time. You know, I think we had to replace maybe a pilot, or no, actually it wasn't anything related to the heat. I think we had to fix something on the AC here. So this is our first time having this issue with this particular system, but I would definitely recommend, like I said, the customer, to let them know that this might be, like I said, just something you have to take it step by step. But I definitely want to recommend opening up walls and floors unless you have a good idea of where that sound is coming from, you know, just to make it less of a pain. But yeah, guys, I thought about it. As soon as I came outside, I'm like, wait, I don't think the zone valve is actually causing an issue, because that would have been a dead giveaway, you know, either if it's opening up too slow or too fast. But yeah, guys, we get those complaints, not often, but that is a general concern. I want to see out of every 10 customers with hydronic boilers, I'm talking hot water boilers, maybe 3 of them probably hear noises from time to time. But you got to treat every single call separately, because like I said, if a customer stated that he heard noise, or he or she heard noises, and that zone wasn't heating, most likely that noise could be air in the system. But I know that this customer doesn't have air in the system. I went to most of the radiators on the first floor and the second floor. He don't have anything in the basement, but that first and second floor, everything is piping hot. So I think maybe just could be water hammer, like just could be like pipes touching somewhere in the wall or the floor. But you know, he said it's not like a bad thing. He just like heard it. You know, he just didn't know kind of like what that sound was. But yeah, guys, there you have it. I just did some detective work here. And once again, this is from a maintenance, so the customer never, you know, stated that he had any issues. I think we came out here in the spring or over the summer to fix the AC, and we gave him, we signed him up for the heat and AC agreement. So like I said, we'll come back out here in the spring for the AC. But yeah, but guys, based on what I can tell with that boiler, like, we cleaned the burners, everything is okay with the safeties, our pumps are working, our zone valves are working, everything is hot. Our limit switch, most importantly, is not at 180, and you know, we know we're not, that boiler isn't overshooting on temperature. So yeah, guys, there you have it. I'm gonna rock out. I gotta finish this paperwork. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.